Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're looking at the 6 private habits of rare intelligence. Basically, what genuinely sharp minds do when absolutely no one is watching. We're going to shatter a few common myths right out of the gate, because if you happen to do these specific things in total privacy, well, your mind is actually way sharper than you probably realize.
Most people out there equate intelligence with a really loud performance, right? Things like getting straight A's, flaunting fancy degrees, or just winning petty arguments. But psychology tells us a completely different story. True intelligence, it really isn't loud at all. It's actually the quiet, private cognitive work that you do completely alone. So, habit number 1 is what we call epistemic patience. Let's be real. The average mind absolutely despises uncertainty. It just grabs the nearest, easiest explanation just to close the case and feel safe. But a highly intelligent mind, it actually sits comfortably right there in the unknown. It's that rare ability to tolerate the discomfort of a really difficult question without forcing an immediate answer. Habit 2 takes that idea even farther, and it's called active self-opposition. Instead of lying in bed at night just replaying arguments you've won to stroke your own ego, we've all been there, right? You actually intentionally build the absolute strongest possible case against your own beliefs. Playing this internal devil's advocate is quite literally the engine behind every major intellectual breakthrough. Now, habit 3 starts with asking yourself a very specific internal question. Why did this specific situation trigger this exact emotional response in me? I mean, anybody can feel an emotion. That's easy. But it takes a genuinely rare mind to treat those feelings like raw data. You're searching for the deep psychological root instead of just blindly reacting in the moment. And that specific practice is called metacognitive observation. It's when you are quietly studying your own emotional patterns and literally tracing them backwards to their root cause. Honestly, this one solitary habit is the absolute dividing line between a completely reactive mind and a genuinely, truly intelligent one. Moving right along to habit 4, cognitive flexibility. Listen, your mind is not just some static hard drive that only stores information. It is actively, constantly reorganizing it. Really sharp minds will regularly revisit past memories or old conclusions, and they strip them right down to reinterpret them through entirely new lenses. Habit 5 is having this intense intrinsic drive for quote-unquote useless curiosity. You see, shallow learners usually just want a quick, practical payoff. But choosing to dive deeply into super obscure subjects, things like medieval clockmaking or deep astrophysics, simply because they fascinate you, that is hands down one of the clearest signals of a highly functioning brain. Okay, habit 6 is real-time intellectual agility. This is basically the superpower of editing your thinking mid-thought. It means you can actually catch your own flawed reasoning and voluntarily change direction on the fly, completely without ego getting in the way or blocking the exit. It's a total game changer. The crazy thing is, formal education almost never tests for these kinds of skills. True intelligence just isn't a loud performance in a meeting room, and it's definitely not cleverness displayed on social media. It is the quiet, highly disciplined, and totally invisible work that your mind does when it is completely by itself. So, if you're listening to this and recognizing these 6 private habits in yourself, well, they've actually always been there. The only real question left for you is, how are you going to harness this rare intelligence now that it finally has a name?